Let's speak now with the spokesperson of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, who joins us live from Abuja. Honorable, already reactions are trailing the proposed spending plan of Mr. President for next year. Your colleagues, some are of the opinion, some are quite optimistic. Others are saying without the total removal of fuel subsidy, this budget is not implementable. What do you make of this early feedback?
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to join my voice with the voices of the leadership of the National Assembly, who made mention of the cooperation, the collaboration, the unity between these arms of government that has helped to birth and sustain the budget calendar that runs from January to December. Many thought when we started that it wasn't going to be achievable. Many thought it would be epileptic, but back to back for 4 good years in this first term, we've sustained that. And you know what that means to the economy, that private sector, public sector will be able, with early budget that is laid and, pass, be able to do their projections accordingly that will help our national economic growth. Having said that, the feedbacks that we are getting is usual, it's normal. A lot of people try to express themselves. Some are saying that the money is much, 20.51 is a lot of money, trillion. But the issue remains that the National Assembly, as an arm of government, is not going to take the budget hook, line, and sinker. Like Joke mentioned, there are parameters we're going to look at to see if the MTEF was respected in computing this budget. And beyond that, also the current national economic realities and also global economic realities. Whether this budget is going to be achievable is dependent on some of those things, and those are what we're going to be looking at. The benchmark, we are saying we propose 73 because we know that the 70 is a bit low compared to what the indicators in the market shows with regards to Ukraine and Russia war that is going on. We believe with 73, we'll be getting the country extra 155 billion that will help us reduce our deficit, which is, as you know, at 11.3 trillion at the moment. We are also buying into the 1.69 million barrels per day that is projected. We're also buying into the GDP growth of 3.75%. We also are agreeing that 17.16% should, from the look of things for the inflation, is not out of place. So most of the complaint that people are bringing borders on also the high 11.3 trillion that is our deficit. But effort is being made from the subsidy that you mentioned that people are asking for, outright removal of subsidy. But the engagement we had with the Minister of Finance before this budget presentation was very satisfying. And she was able to defend why we cannot do it all at once, but it could be phased into phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. And with this phase, we are comfortable with 1.7 trillion for oil subsidy for now, between now and June. And I'm sure it's going to call for a review, and we'll be saving about 740.
I hear you, Honorable Kanu. Permit me to just jump in very quickly. It gets busy from here for you and your colleagues to be able to meet up with the January to December cycle you mentioned earlier. However, the president also noted earlier today, imploring the leadership of the National Assembly not to approve budgets for government-owned enterprises without first returning it to the presidency. Recall that before he signed the 2022 appropriation bill earlier this year, he raised concerns about reduction in the provisions made for some projects and the introduction of others. I'm concerned about how the House is reacting to these requests at the risk of also being a rubber stamp to the executive.
No, though we are three arms of government, we are one government. We are pursuing one objective, national, nation building, and we are expected to look at the budget and cross the T's where it is possible and crossable, and dot the I's where it is possible, to dot it. Where it is not possible, we will raise questions for justifications, to back up the proposal. Like, it is not a final copy. It is a proposal, and it is called a budget proposal for a reason, because the legislature is mandated by the Constitution to review and make sure that it is tailored to the needs, assessment that we have carried out as well as part of this government. And if it aligns with those projections made by NTF, it will pass through. If it is not justified through the presentation of the MDA, because the job is passed to us, but not fully so, because the heads of the MDAs need to come and justify the numbers presented by Mr. President. So if they're able to do that, then it will pass through. If they're not able to do that, there will be question marks. And I've heard from the flanks that Mr. President said that nobody should touch the budget. I don't think Mr. President, who is a democratic president, who loves democracy, will try to cage the legislature from doing their job. So the legislature is going to look at the budget and scrutinize it as allowed by the law, by the constitutional mandate, and will show up where we need to show up and prune down where we need to prune down. But all will be for national interest, because as you know, it is the legislative arm of government that has this number 360 and 109 that can give a periscopic view on the budget, not just one-sided aspect of looking at things. The executive have looked at their projections, and we have to bring our own on board, so that at the end of the day, what goes back to Mr. President,
I hear you.
Maybe there were gaps they missed out, there were issues they missed out. It is our duty to find it on behalf of Nigerians. Take it back to Mr. President, who I'm sure will accept the blocks that will be proposed to fill up those gaps.
I'm sure that Nigerians can't wait to hear that rich deliberation and see how this pending plan can navigate Nigeria beyond the global challenges, the economic global challenges that is really rocking these times. Benjamin Kalu is the spokesman, House of Representatives. Thank you for talking to us on the news tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.